Receiving a customer payment. In order to receive a payment in Magazine and Newspaper Manager, first you need to go to the Customers menu, and from the Customers menu go down to Accounts Receivable. From Accounts Receivable, come to the option Receive Payment. When you're receiving a payment from a customer, you must first search for the customer that you'd like to receive the payment from. So let's look for my company name, the Magazine Manager. As we press search here, let's also explore other ways that you can search by what entity you would like to apply the payment to. You can search by particular invoice number in order to apply the payment. You can search by customers' first, last names, or even by customer IDs. You can search by any of these methods to find the proper entity to which you'd like to apply the payment. Press the Go to Receive Payment screen once you've found the customer you want. And on the Receive Payment screen now, we have the ability to receive payments. At the bottom of the Receive Payment screen, we see everything about this client's open accounts receivable activity. First, we see that we have payments received and charges against the customer account in cash. We have barter received as a prepayment of barter, and there's a barter balance, a credit balance on the customer's account for any upcoming barter invoices or barter due. Okay. When we receive a payment, you must first select the payment method. Is it a check, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, etc., cash? These other payment methods, credit memo, write-off, and non-cash adjustment, you'll do the credit memo for an outstanding invoice balance that you want to credit back to the customer because maybe there was a problem with their ad or whatever reason you need to credit the rest of the balance of the invoice. You can apply a credit memo satisfying that invoice to be paid completely. If you need to write off a bad balance or sending something to collections and you want to get rid of it off of your aging, you can write off the balance as a payment method. And then a generic non-cash adjustment as you need to. Now, if you have money sitting on the customer account or on the barter account of the customer account, those can also be payment methods to which you apply to an open invoice or something else. But in today's scenario, we have received a check in the amount of $3,000 from our client, and the check number 999, okay, and then the date. Now, if you leave the payment date blank, go ahead and always leave the payment date blank if you want to, because the payment date applied to this payment transaction will be today's date if you leave it blank. Otherwise, select the payment date. Maybe the check came in last Thursday and you want to make that check deposit dated last Thursday, make the transaction match up with your deposit date. So you choose the 9th in order for that. If you have later this week planning to make a deposit on the 17th and you want this payment to the customer account to reflect the deposit date, then choose that date, the 17th. Be very, very, very careful if you're post dating a payment that you don't go too far out into the future. Because you will wind up messing up your aging reports. Your aging reports are as an as of date, as of today's date. And then if you've got prepayments sitting with future dates, your aging is just not going to be right. So be very selective and very cautious when you choose to apply a future date to a payment. So we have our payment method, check, our payment amount, and our payment check number with the payment date. Now, if we apply a payment to the customer account down here, you're going to choose where you want this payment to go. I want this payment to go to my customer account. When you apply a prepayment to a customer account, go ahead and select the product for which that payment is intended if you know it. So let's go ahead and say that this payment is going to be for a future invoice for Organic Delights. If you're doing your aging by product or by business unit, this is going to help keep the money all in order for you. And you can even put a memo. This is for the June 2017 issue of Organic Delights, half-page ad, something like that. So you can make a note on this payment. And then certain And then once you have all the payment details worked out, go ahead and press pay, and it applies that payment to the customer account. Press OK. Now we have a credit on the customer account in cash, and we have a credit on the customer account in barter. All right, looks good here. That is how you receive a payment. Now, if you have credit card processing hooked up through Magazine Manager, Newspaper Manager, you'll be able to press the credit card button and apply that prepayment or that payment to an invoice running the customer's credit card right here. You can even use the card stored on the account. If you do have the reoccurring payment method set up with Plug and Pay, you can actually use the credit card on the customer account. Otherwise, enter the new credit card information, pick to what entity you want to apply that payment, same kind of information. Now, when you use the credit card here, the button here, you don't have to pick the payment type, because depending on the credit card you process, it's actually going to pick that payment type for you. But you still need to put in the amount, the payment date. If it's to the customer account, also select the product that you want to apply that prepayment to, press your credit card, and run the credit card transaction, get the authorization, and post the payment in your books here to a particular invoice or to the customer account, all with one transaction. And that's how to receive a payment.